Köszönöm, nagyon örülök. Itt vagyok ma, beszélhetni önnel. Nagyon köszönöm, Edina, a meghívást. Csak néhány sokat, magyarul sokat tudok, szóval ezért sajnálom, angolul beszélgetni fogok. Okay? And Eva asked me to fit into my time. I will do my best, definitely. And I wanted to leave you with the 3 messages. One is that shine the light. Second is emphasize. And then third is join force for good. And I will unwrap it a little bit during my presentation. And let me start firstly why inclusion and diversity matters. Because that's not obvious if you ask people in different companies why we should be different, why we should be more inclusive. We are very inclusive. This is the major answer I'm always receiving. Why you are talking about that? We are very, very inclusive. I think it's super important, and it refers to our mission, firstly. So normally, we put in the center our customers, but we have an impact on the communities where we operate, as well as on the planet, because it depends on us how we source our products, how we produce them, and how we transport them. So I will put a stress on communities, because wherever our people work and whoever they serve, they live in a very diverse communities. And you look at the many statistics, there is an equal number of women and men. There is a representation in our communities of disabled people with disabilities. There are different ethnicities around us. However, we are not talking very consciously about how we create environment in our companies to really include all of them. And diversity matters, but the most important is inclusion. We could be diverse, but how we create an environment in which everyone is really welcome, they feel they belong. They could be themselves, and they don't need to be afraid of showing their own vulnerabilities. And I think this is really important. So we are in actions to create a great place to work for all, no matter, irrespective, what is your background, what is your belief, what is your religion, what is your skin tone, and who you are, whether you are well-educated or not well-educated. And this is a part of the DNA, which is really important. But this is not nice to do, neither it's not required by the corporate responsibility standards, which is, but that's not the reason. We also believe that it is driving a business results. So wherever you see companies who really put a diversity and inclusion as a part of the strategy, then you see a better results in the companies. And I think this is important to mention. So it's not only about the discretionary choices. More diverse you are, more psychological safety you create, better results, and more innovative your company will be, okay? So these are the reasons why, okay? So for us, it was important to publicly state our diversity and inclusion strategy because we wanted to shine the light. And we decided to make it very public that we have a diversity and inclusion strategy, and we put it as a part of our directors' objectives. So there are 3 elements of our diversity and inclusion strategy. One is about we expect directors and the senior managers to lead and to really be a role model. Secondly, we have to ensure that in every touch point and every experience of colleagues, we are removing all non-inclusive barriers. And I will give you a very simple example. This example is from 10 years ago, but we had in one of our policies 10 years ago that we would not accept colleagues having rings in their nose when they serve customers, okay? Guys, this is a normality now. We cannot keep it now, so we remove it 10 years ago. Yes, because we wanted to really represent how society is changing. So you can meet shop assistants with tattoos on their face, and that's okay, because that is now what the society accepts. Yes, and then third is that we really focus on supporting diverse groups, and this is about my emphasis, and choosing where you put more efforts. And we have 4 groups where we put more efforts. 1, women. Secondly, young people, how can we create for them a first opportunity to work and learn? Third, colleagues with disabilities. And fourth, ethnic minorities, especially Roma society and the Roma social groups. So these are our, and I will talk about a few examples in relation to gender pay gap, because of course I will not focus on the other elements, but only on gender pay gap. So why measuring matters? That was the next question I received. Why we want to reveal gender pay gap? It's not mandatory in Europe. Yeah, we don't need to do it. And we decided to do it. And we did it last year. We are going to launch the report this year. I will show you the data. Of course, we have a gender pay gap, as Zorgit and Betty now were showing. Despite the fact that we pay equally, despite the fact that we have a tariff in our stores and the managers are rewarded the same, we still have a gender pay gap, and I will explain you why. So measuring really matters. Matters because we pay attention and we have more frequent conversation about do we have enough women on a senior position, as an example. So what we did this year, we included ESG targets into our long-term incentive plan for the directors. So you could see this is our incentive plan and KPIs, which need to be met. And we are measured every 30, like for the 3 years, this is long-term plan. And 1/4 of that plan, we are measured as directors whether we are supporting ESG targets, sustainability targets, carbon reduction, food waste, and diversity and inclusion, which means that as a group globally, we committed ourselves that we will put 40% of our women on the most senior executive positions in our organization. And currently, we are at 29 globally. Yes? So that's measuring it and being honest and transparent, we are not there, is really, really important. The second thing what we are measuring our progress. And I mentioned to you, we launched the Gender Pay Gap report last year, which was called Everyone Welcome at Tesco in all our countries in Central Europe, and we are measuring our progress on our strategy. And the third thing what we are measuring is we are asking our colleagues what they think about our inclusion. So you could see the results from this year's survey, and I'm very proud to share this survey we ran for 20 years already in our organization. Every year, 17,000 people take part. It's a part of the culture that we ask colleagues. And as you could see on the slide, more than 86% with improvement from the last year, they answer, I feel I can be myself at Tesco without any judgment. I agree with that statement. Also, we asked them the question whether they believe Tesco is becoming more inclusive. And as you could see, the results are really great. The reason for that is, I believe, our culture is really built on the values. And on the first slide, you really saw it. It was about treat others how they would like to be treated. And it is really important how we live it every day. So, as my previous speakers were telling, equal pay doesn't equal lack of gender pay. So we have a gender pay gap in all of our countries, and there are 3 reasons for that. First reason is we have in some countries overrepresentation of men in the industries or professions which are better paid. Example, I have 150 technology engineers who are much better paid than the checkout assistants. Second reason is we have more men on more senior position than women. Yes, and the third is that shift premiums or shifts with the premiums are more often taken by men than by women. There are three major reasons. And you could see on that slide, sorry for the small letters, but the colors you could probably recognize. So orange are females, and the dark blue are male. So you could see there are three countries, Slovakia, Czech Republic, and Hungary, and there are three groups. Colleagues, everyone at Tesco, managers who are line managers, and then senior managers and directors, so minimum like a senior managers or a store manager of a store. And you could see how it is changing. We have more than 75% of women in our stores, and in Czech Republic almost 80%, yeah, a little bit less in Hungary. But then when they come through the career, then suddenly we have only 48% of women at the senior positions. Yes? So from the moment we started to talk about that, it really has started to create attention. Okay? So what we were really thinking about, if we will make Tesco better for women, or just one woman, it will be better for everyone. Okay? So that was the whole concept. So we are not obsessed with the numbers, but we are really serious about the actions which we are taking. So back on the strategy, there are three things which we are really doing, and these are examples of the things we have done. So firstly, we started to have more frequent conversation about that. Yes, and really talking, presenting to the directors, asking them questions. So, for example, if I would like to promote a director, I have to fulfill a form which says, did I consider gender representation? Have I seen female candidates? How many of them? Whether the shortlist was balanced, and how this promotion will help me on achieving my long-term target of 40% of the directors being female. This is serious. I have to report, every director has to report it. So I think that having this conversation and putting this as a part of your normal everyday processes, this is the only way. So my second message is emphasize. Okay, you can tell something like one of our senior director woman told me. So she said, Ella, I cannot agree on the targets. I said, why, Katko? And she said, because I don't want to be chosen to my position because I am a female. I want to be chosen because I'm great. Okay? And that's true. Absolutely. I will always choose a person who has a better potential. But if we are not creating more force processes and more diligent talent processes, we will never get there. There will be only few women at the top who are enough strong. Okay? So currently, on our talent list for line managers, so like junior managers, we have 60% of women because we know it will be harder to get higher. Therefore, we have to have an overrepresentation of women. Okay? So that is what I say, emphasize. You need to be sometimes really strict from, these forced actions which you put into organization. The second thing is building awareness. We have every year, Diversity and Inclusion Week, where we do webinars for colleagues, and we are, kind of raising attention. So this year we had in May, which was devoted to building bridges between generations. We had a lot of great speakers, and colleagues really participate in this. And the third thing is, my sponsor for the gender pay gap and the female is my CEO, and he's very serious. So it's not an HR-driven job, and this is about really directors being engaged, and they do mentor women. My boss is mentoring all the talents, on all female talents. He's meeting regularly across whole Europe. So I think it's a great example where you choose it as a business strategy rather than HR initiative. Okay. And I know my time is over, so I will be very short. The second element of our strategy was really reviewing our processes. So we did 3 things. First, we introduced balanced shortlist. So all my headhunters know they cannot come back to me with the male candidates only. I'm sorry. I am just not accepting this. They know it from the beginning. We also review all the talent lists, both from a gender perspective. We introduce coaching questions for the talent process and talent discussions, definitely. And we had to upskill our recruiters as well as our hiring managers in how to recruit without biases. Okay, and this is, I would like to emphasize, this is very important because a lot of cultural biases are so inherent that people are blind and they don't know that they have them. So this training is really important. And the third element of the strategy, the third pillar of the strategy is about supporting a diverse group of colleagues. And I just wanted to mention those initiatives which are related to women. So, so it is about creating networks, or how to say, supporting colleagues to create networks, because networks cannot be given or told to the colleagues. They have to come as a grassroots initiatives. So we have interesting initiatives in Slovakia, which is called Flower Power, and we have a network of women, small group in Czech office, that they started. They want to share their initiatives, they want to discuss, they want to inspire, they want to be a part of the consultation body. If we are introducing anything, that we have a natural working team around diversity and inclusion week. So we are inviting more people to co-create. The second thing is we introduced 1 year ago a really great family policies. I think they are maybe not as good as the government in Hungary is providing for women, which is great. But in Slovakia and in Czech Republic, I don't know whether you know, but if a colleague would go for a maternity, they are not entitled to the full pay. Okay, so their pay during maternity period is capped. So, for example, for my office colleague, she will only receive 45% of her pay during maternity. Okay, because this is capped. So as a company, we decided to top it up to 100%. So all our women who go for maternity are, for example, are receiving 100% of pay. Whether this is provided by the government in Hungary, because it is from July last year, but not in Czech and in Slovakia. So we introduce also the 4 weeks paternal leave for fathers, and we have as well, foster care and adoption leave, fertility leave, and all of that things which really help women to feel that, they could be equally treated. So that is one. And the third initiative is about the women's health. Last week we had a pink day in Hungary, where we invited all the women to wear pink, and I think we have many great pictures, but we also launched the program last year about menopause, encouraging women to share their stories. Okay? This is not all, because my colleagues in the UK, they have a longer tradition of reporting gender pay gap, definitely, because they started in 2016, also voluntary, before it has become mandatory in the UK. Their networks are much stronger than ours. They do more in terms of the women's health, and they do more about the job sharing. So definitely, we are learning from our colleagues from Britannia about what we could do, do more, definitely, and we will continue our journey. And my third message is join force for good, because I think Bettina said, it is not about corporation only. It has to change from how we bring our daughters, how we bring up our daughters, what they are taught at schools, how we help them during the career, how we encourage them. So this is the whole village effort, guys, to make women more successful. So I count on your support as well. Thank you.